Okay, just checking this is all on. Here we are, microphone's on, got my coffee. And that's a significant part of it. It's a lovely sunny day, the morning has started, I've got my coffee, got a couple of hours to use, and I want to catch up on this project, which, as you can see on the screen, I'm still deciding what to name. Let's get rid of this progress meter. Yeah, I've been provisionally making this project to rewrite CocoaPods from Ruby to TypeScript in a repo that I've been calling CocoaPods. As it's kind of, so just to write that, CocoaPods. It's kind of a game in terms of how do you say that? But I just like the fact that if you say it quickly, it sounds like CocoaPods, and it's got JS at the end, so it's indicating it's being rewritten in JavaScript or rather TypeScript. So I don't know, that's a bit amusing for me, but I can imagine people will take one look at it and think that's a disgusting name. So it's not a fixed name. I'm sort of open to the idea of changing it. We had a tweet asking about that a moment ago, last night. And so the thing I noticed is that when you assemble together these two images, the CocoaPods logo and the Node.js logo, as composed by Twitter, they come out as COD, which is quite funny. And so I thought, actually, COD install is nice because it's just as many letters to type, and it's talking about a tangible thing, a cod, a fish. So you could make a whole brand around fish instead. But CocoaPods is such a nice, chocolate is a rather nice brand to begin with. So I thought I'd crowdsource that. And we'll see what kind of views we've got. So just one moment while I check on my notifications. Okay. Okie dokie. So, first up from Mark, are you planning on branding it under a different CocoaPods? Oh yeah, so this was, I thought, a really good bit of guidance because, so depending on how we approach it, it will implement the name. So, sort of, if we were positioning this as a project that is sort of under the CocoaPods organization and maybe even blessed by them, just the way to call it from JavaScript, then maybe CocoaPods.js, or indeed COD. But if I'm planning to build a new framework that doesn't use Ruby or COD specs at all, pod specs, sorry, I'm already doing it COD specs, then pick a whole new name. And, this is interesting. At the moment, I'm kind of thinking of, it's neither one nor the other. The whole point is to get it off the Ruby runtime. But I do want, I'd love to use the pod specs central repo, but I'm not quite sure what the reality is of how can we express pod specs in JavaScript at all? And we've had conversations on this because in a pod spec you can write arbitrary Ruby. It's not a static configuration like JSON. The CocoaPods command line tool does offer a way to resolve the pod specs file into its final JSON. But, if you've got a file which behaves differently in different places because it checks the absolute path to where it is, for example, that's a very different proposition to the central CocoaPods, which probably don't use so much dynamic behavior. So I'm not sure yet what the, how this is going to end up. So putting that aside, checking other people's opinions, I agree with Valentin that naming is hard, and sometimes you just want to move on with a project and not get too bogged down in the naming. How is this? Pods or eggs? It's true. We could have some other sort of metaphor, like pods encapsulate. Oh, what is the pod? Pods I need to look up the biology for this, but I suppose they encapsulate mesoderm and other things. But yeah, that's a Wikipedia article to look into at some point. I really like coconuts though, because it keeps you in the same sort of. It makes you understand you're in the same ecosystem of something Cocoa-like, because it's about Cocoa and Cocoa Touch management. Cocoa being Apple's name for sort of its app frameworks, and Cocoa Touch being the early name for the enduring name, I think, for iOS and whatnot. And I like the fact that it embraces actually the TypeScript rather than the JavaScript, because indeed that's sort of what we're doing to tame things here. We are writing in TypeScript, even though the runtime is going to be JavaScript. So that's probably my front runner. Thank you, Mashedge. What else? Smoking pot. I've got no idea what to make of that. Breakfast cereal related. Is CocoaPods breakfast cereal related in the first place? Maybe in the sense of Cocoa Puffs, which we'd rather have a bowl of. Simply Cocoa.js. I think not that, because it sort of implies we're trying to port Cocoa, and that's not the deal here. We're trying to port CocoaPods, which is Xcode project management system. Cuckoo for Cocoa.js, that's fun. I don't know what the command line invocation for that would be. NodePods. Like maybe? Cocoa.js, same comments about NodePods. Huh, you've been beaten to it. And then JS pods. All possible ideas. I think at some point we're going to have to put this up to a vote. Non-binding, of course. But yeah, I am favouring coconuts. There's another reply here. Coffee pods. Okay. And an SEO battle with Nespresso, who are not sponsored. Who are not sponsoring. Sorry, I wouldn't be sponsoring them. That would be crazy. Let's see. So, the other thing I wanted to show was this tweet that I got from Johan Lindskogen. I don't know how to say that. Who, now I have expressly said the project is not open source at this time. Oh, we've got a comment from Leonardo Silva suggesting Pod.js. Yeah, I think that may have been up on the screen. It could work. I think we'll weigh these up and maybe put them to a vote later. Anyway, so from Johan, despite my saying this project is not open source yet, I want to make the skeleton so that it'll be easier to take on contributions. He was so excited for it that he went and made. And where is the first? Oh yeah. Sorry, that is the tweet. He went and made his own port of CocoaPods / downloader, which is one of the ones I haven't got around to yet, and it's a nice standalone piece, I think, that won't depend too much on the other building blocks that we're waiting on. So that's really handy, and so I decided, okay, let's not wait until I've got rid of all the red line. Let's just push what I've got somewhere and see if we can get Johan onboarded, and see how it goes. So we went through this, and he's gone and opened a PR, and here we are. Okay. Trying not to neglect that coffee that I bigged up. My morning coffee. I have one coffee a day, sometimes two. and so it's all going to waste. It just goes cold on stream and before I get any drinks of it. Okay, so this is what we'll be doing today. We will be reviewing this PR, which ports most of the code in Pod Downloader. Let's get a look at Pod Downloader so we can see what that even is. So just getting in the area, we've got executable here, Downloader. So Downloader is everything in this folder. We've got cache request and response, and you see files changed. We'll have cache request and response and a few dependencies of that, as you'd expect, expressed in TypeScript. Evidently they pulled in gem version spec. So I had a quick look at this last night, just going over trivial thoughts like code style, but not actually thinking as far as, not comparing it side by side with Ruby and checking is this doing exactly the same thing, and all the wider questions of are we using, is this integrated into the repo correctly? So let's just go from top to bottom and see what we're dealing with. I realize this will be quite small, so let's zoom. So for everyone on mobile, hopefully this will do the trick. Oh, but it does go sticky. Hopefully I can see enough at once to deal with this. Okay, so first up, looking at imports, I like how we've got namespace by node. That's perfect. I think we'll run the linter to reorder them, because one thing I find, and actually we can do this right now. We can jump into that branch. Hold up, these DS stuff. Hold up. Yeah, man. I'm surprised I didn't git ignore that already. Hold up. But it matters not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stash all my current work, and we're going to jump over here to his branch, which is back here. You'll notice I'm actually I moved a commit ahead, because after raising that discussion of, well, what should we call this thing, I thought, oh boy, we should probably actually, now that I've spilled the name CocoaPods, which is a very valuable name I don't want anyone to scoop up, I decided to just do a quick publish to park on that. At least I'm parking with the intention of possibly using it, rather than parking to exclude other people from ever using it, because I intend to use it. So, jumping onto his branch, which is against the remote, rather than being on his fork, because as I learned in GitHub, if you have a private project and you invite a collaborator, they get full privileges. Maybe this is different when it comes to paid projects, but like an organization scoped stuff. But yeah, in private projects, when you're not paying, evidently this is the case. So jumped onto his branch, and the reason I want to do that is just have a quick look at what's going on with the linter. So let's close all these up. We're reviewing cache.ts, and you'll see the linter's firing off on this, and we can run the autofix. And what I'm aiming for is, where does autofix actually live? I normally press a hotkey to get that. Let's just fix this one problem. So we've got simple import sort. I absolutely love this. And what it does is it groups together all the genetically similar packages. So you've got your node assert, node fs, node os, and then what's it complaining about here? Relative imports. Ah, yeah. So because we're doing In TypeScript, you don't need to add the extension, but in whatever environment we're using here, TypeScript target using Node. There you go. Node 16 or Node next module resolution. You've got to specify it. So autofix. Oh, whoops! I run all the autofixes. Just undo it. So just jump on these and we do a .js, and that should fix all of them. So that's what I'd like to see. But as you will find as we go down these, I've actually already suggested a few things. So I think what we're going to do is just get everyone up to speed on those, and then we'll commit them, and then we'll do any final finishing touches before merging it in. So as I got to the first class cache share, this thing caught my eye. There's a declaration of root and same named parameter that comes in the constructor and then assigns to root. You can re-express this as a one-liner, constructor public root string, which is one of the things that really made me. The first time I learned about this in the early days of TypeScript, I thought, wow, that will save me so much writing. So we're just going to go ahead and commit that while we're here. And if I go back to my version manager, we're actually going to undo those autofixes we ran because they'll just conflict. It's so easy to reapply them. And if we fetch now, we'll see that that change got committed. Okay, now back to this review. I'm going to dash down here and go to the next thing I reviewed. So I've got another linting convention. Instead of the element followed by these square brackets, if you want to express an array, someone did an incredibly passionate rant that has influenced me about the harmfulness of this in terms of readability and maintainability versus that. And yeah, if you look up array types in TypeScript by TK Dodo, you can see the whole rant. But yeah, that's the reason. And this is one reason I wanted to get all the skeletons set up so that these all these linting checks would definitely have run by the time the PR's open. But yeah, early days, so a few onboarding frictions for now. Let's just sprint down to my next review comment. We'll be coming back for all of this later. So here, another trivial thing, and this gets into bike shedding territory. The code is absolutely fine, but it's always nice to reduce mental burden, in my opinion, to exit early out of a conditional branch and reduce nesting. But yeah, I think it's kind of unfair for me to bring this up because I don't have a linter rule for it. So yeah, it's just no helping it. I will have to find a linter rule for that. But what I'm sure is that this is faithful to the original Ruby, which is exactly what I want to see. I think, let's see. In fact, we can even confirm that. Specification from file. Something like that. It might be a colon. Alright, done. Oh, that's interesting. So maybe it is. Maybe there is some difference to the original. I don't know. Where was this function defined? Oh. Oh yeah, if you've got a specification from file, then you return. Oh, interesting. We return the path to the file. Return specification from file. No, it returns a specification. I'm just reading it. Okay, so whatever path is, path for spec, it's a P, whatever that is. Okay, we'll have to look at this in more detail later, but I was expecting to see sort of that looks just like Ruby here, but actually there's an and there. So anyway, let's commit it. Moving on. Oh, and a thumbs up. Commit. How do you jump to the next comment? I thought there was a button for that. Obviously I can go back to the original conversation page. Yeah, that's the trivial one about array shape. Commit. Jump to the next comment would be nice. This comment here, I personally find this operator rather difficult to read because I never use it and I don't really see it conventionally used that often in JavaScript code bases, but it's totally legitimate. It's used a lot in this Ruby code base, and it's kind of on me for not being able to mentally process it so easy. In one of my other files I do a lot of if conditions, and like if this isn't the case then we apply this, otherwise don't do anything. But maybe I'm thinking that's on me. I need to be able to adjust to this. So, and especially since this is used all over in the Ruby code base, like we should probably just let it fly. I might run a poll on that on Twitter and say, what are people's opinions on that? Am I being a baby over it, or is it legitimately a little bewildering? I think the camera's a little high. I might bring that down a bit if I can. Where is the spinny thing area? Oh, it's all locked up. Down you go. Just a little bit more. Perfect. Yeah, just getting my slouch in frame. Okie dokie, so moving on, I had one more trivial comment here. So, well, trivial in a way. So, the unicorn set of linting rules has something called no null, which just forbids null altogether in the code base. And I think, and seeing that for the first time, it feels pretty extreme. Like, what if I need null? You might need null for some libraries, maybe form-based libraries, which specifically which need a way to express empty versus intentionally empty versus unintentionally empty or something. But it's always good to see how far you can go without it. And to my understanding, not that I've looked into this, Ruby may only have... I really should look into this. Ruby has nil, but it doesn't have something like nil, but also undefined as a concept. So it's only got one, to my understanding, it only has one concept of nilness or undefinedness, nullishness. So we should probably actually standardize on no nulls at all to make life easier on ourselves and to reduce bike shedding. And here we're seeing the advantage of linters in action. It stops us having to, it would halve the number of decisions here of, okay, it's optional, but it could also be null, but in both cases we treat nullish as undesirable, so we get rid of them. Why don't we just get rid of nulls, because then we can have the lovely question mark operator and we can stop here, and we don't need to do equals null. It cleans it up a fair bit. So I think I'm going to turn on that linting rule, and I'll accept this. Then I like using chaining where possible, so I've gone and done that. And I think released underline pod will probably be a strict boolean, so I just made sure that it definitely gets coerced to a boolean now that I've removed the equals false default. So yeah, anyway, just trivial bike shedding. Committed. Jump down again. Where was it? Oh right, it's gone and closed up. I've lost it. I'll show you what I was about to talk about. So we've also got some exclamation marks. This is the... Where is it? Different file, I think. Yeah. So we've got some exclamation marks here, which is the TypeScript unsafe access operator or something. It has a name, and it basically says although TypeScript inference hasn't figured it out, we guarantee that this will be available by the time of use, post constructor. So probably worth just looking a bit closely at those and seeing if we can eliminate any of those, which we will get to. Here we've got object. I looked at how that params parameter was being used in practice, and it did object entries over the params, and it stringifies the value and sets it and turns it all into a string. So I think we want to record a string to string, and let's set it as that for now and hope that, yeah, see if that contract upholds as we continue to use it. And okay, I think we've covered everything, all the code style things. I saw a nice bit of gold inside the PR, which is hold up. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to translate this line into TypeScript. The specification set presents a new set, because if you look into specification set and you try to find presenter, it does not exist. So there's clearly something with like namespace merging or something. Clearly some dynamic programming thing that Ruby supports is at hand here. And I've tried to look for occurrences of the word presenter throughout the Ruby code base, and I can't find any. So I'm very curious with how Johan translated the specification class, because I can't figure out what this is doing just yet. So if he knows exactly what's going on, that is a lifesaver. So I've left a comment asking, do you know what's going on? Could you implement the rest of that file? That would be awesome. And what I've got at the moment is just a placeholder written by ChatGPT. So I'm very happy to adopt his presumed human written one as the initial placeholder. Anyway, so I'll leave that unresolved. We've applied these trivial things. Okie dokie. So next up. Ooh. I'm like a squirrel. I've got to look at this. Okay, it's nothing. It's nothing. Forget the notifications. Okay, so we've now checked over the code syntax, and that all checks out. So we'll just catch up this branch. I'm going to rebase this onto main now that we've applied all the suggestions. Rebase and a force push. Oh, there must have been another one in the meantime. That's branch protection at work. Why isn't it liking that? Don't know what the problem was there. Okay. So we have rebased onto main, and now I know reviewing is normally kind of a two-way process of you present. These are my suggestions. What do you think of these suggestions? But there's so much to do in this project right now. I'm prioritizing speed, and I'm just very happy to have the initial implementation, and I think we'll just, during this stream today, we'll try to push this over the line. So first up, we've got a bit of red line, and that's just from linting, so these should be easy wins. I'm going to run the auto fixes. I've got a hotkey for that, but the way you would do it is you fix this problem. And then these last one, as we saw earlier, these are just the JS extension on, so that's a bit happier. Auto fixes, JS, we've got response.js. What's the problem here? Oh yeah, it's type only. Yeah, so using import type rather than import is super good for reducing circular references, cyclic dependencies, because it means you're pulling in just the concept of shape rather than omitting something in the JavaScript at the implementation level that causes cyclic dependencies. So yeah, import type, good. Okay, I've got a few more red lines. So I'm just going to run auto fixes and see if any of these can be solved trivially. Okay, I'm going to have to use my brain. What is this? Unnecessary try-catch wrapper. Why is this unnecessary? Is that because it throws in? Oh yeah. I have that. So we're going to make this necessary. So user interface is what I'm calling it. Dot puts. Got a line break. Oh, let's do that. Error installing. Hold on. Request dot name. Oh, great! It autocompletes, and then we've really got to sort out colors. But today is not that day. Is today the day? No, it's not. Node color codes. Yeah, sorry, we're doing this often enough that I should really reach a lasting solution for it, but gotta go fast. So that whole thing becomes red, so we open a red color code, and then we close it. There's just a little satisfaction about not bringing in a library for this, but obviously this is utterly unreadable code. Yes, don't worry, we will be coming back for this. Unicode escapes. Okay. I don't remember asking for that before. Fine. Unicode escapes it is. Okay, and this has now been made necessary, which is great. So that's good. So I'll just be zooming in on all the red line, and then I'll be doing a second pass to yeah, just to see if there's any easy wins. So, yeah, Unicorn doesn't like array reduce. This is a bit of a culture shock for me. I love writing really complicated reduce functions, but it's true. They can be hard to read. This is actually a beautiful one though. We collect everything into a record of strings to arrays, and I really like how he's put the type right in this generic here. The other way to do it is you can do it as that, but then you have to declare it. Yeah. You can do it as that, but that's even nicer. Specification.from file. Is that because we've imported it as type? What's it complaining about? Oh yes, hang on. What's the issue? Okay. So this is a class. This is an interface for now. Yes. Let's just fix this. This is the tricky thing. I don't know how to express specification properly in TypeScript. We've got our placeholder. So this unfortunately, so it's clearly got a from file method. Let's see if our placeholder in lazy specification solved any of this for us. So the from file method, it didn't. This is, I know there's a lot of love for Ruby, but it does have a lot of metaprogramming going on that does make it very hard sometimes to translate. Okay, maybe we come back to that. Or maybe this is a perfect opportunity to try and get to the bottom of what specification is. Have I got a Ruby code lying around? Oh, I do, don't I? What I decided to do was I made a lazy inline specification .ruby, so I get all the syntax highlighting. I'll just jump back over to here, copy it, paste it, and so we can have that for reference. But remember, this is kind of like means nothing to me. Like, got delegate classes going on. You've got specification set, and yet where is that from file method? I feel like there's multiple different files merging into this namespace that's available from multiple different places, and that's what's making this hard. I'm just thinking there's several viewers here. That's as I say, that's a fan base. When you've got the flight of the Concords joke, where there's just one fan and they call it the fan base to make it sound larger. Welcome along. How's everyone doing? What's everyone up to today? What's your interest in this project? How did you find out about it? In the meantime, I shall be looking for occurrences of from file, because that is a new one. Okie pokey. So, is a project cache an example of specification? Maybe not. Maybe that's coincidence. So we're just trying to reverse engineer what specification is by looking for occurrences of this from file thing and see if we can find the declaration of that somewhere. Maybe like that. And that's interesting. Pod file's got a from file, specification's got a pod file, from file method too. Nope. Maybe I need to look for def from file. That's so infuriating. Def from file. Ooh! That looks promising. Okay, we'll look at those two at the top. But that's so weird because they don't mention specification at all. So is this a red herring, or is this really where this specification is declared? Oh, so frustrated with Ruby. I think we may have to just leave this aside. Maybe once the project gets a bit bigger, someone who really recognizes Ruby can get to the bottom of that mystery. I'm okay with accepting that with Redline for now. Let's do this little cleanup. I say cleanup. Let's do what the linter's telling us. That's one point of a linter. You stick to your guns. So we're going to have a I don't know, call it spec paths resolved equals, yeah, equals that. Yeah, and it's not in use yet. And we're just going to refactor this into a good old for loop. For each key of object.keys, oh hang on, no, this is an array, isn't it? Yeah. For each member of spec paths, so it's going to be for each spec path of spec paths, we are going to, let's see, find out what the name of the hash is. Okay, I see. I think I'm starting to see what it's doing. So, if you've already got a spec paths resolved spec path name? No, hold on. That's your accumulator. That is your value, the spec path. Ah, yeah, sorry, no. Got the spec there. And what out of the spec do we actually use? We use the whole spec, so we're not going to bother destructuring that. Okay. So we'll do a spec name. Oops. So if you don't have it filled in, fill it in for the first time as an array. Which can equally be expressed as that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. On rare occasions I'll write it like that, but it's never the first thing that comes to my mind. Okay, but what's this hash? Yeah, hash is the accumulator. Ah, cool, sweet. I've got a name for it. And then, I mean, I could just copy this all over as is. Why not? Yeah, I'm just taking a chance to understand the code a bit. So we have that, and then we return the hash, and we're good to go. I don't even need to leave a to-do comment there. I mean, the red line is the to-do. So we have kept our linter happy. Public is the default anyway, so no need for that. Okay. Ah. Yeah. Read log. Yeah, mandatory callback makes sense to me. Ah, yeah, okay. So this is one of those things where TypeScript's types are unintuitively a little different from TypeScript's implementation. So if you were implementing a callback, this would be returning void. If you're expressing the type of a callback, you use a slightly different syntax. What? Okay, file locking. Yeah, we can have a look at that soon enough. Ah, yeah, and then the linter's complaining that this isn't used. This variable isn't used, so you should put an underline in front of it. But it's going to be used in just a moment. I'm going to say we'll live with redline. There's so much redline to address. So far, so good. Oh, that's a point. Return type, do you want implicit returns or explicit returns? I know Microsoft published some guidelines on how to make TypeScript go fast. Well, as fast as possible. Sometimes it's a bit blown out of proportion. And wherever you can avoid the compiler having to do its inference, it sounded like that's a good thing. But at the same time, if it's only used privately and it's not exposed to external users, inferences, you might as well treat yourself to some inference, because it's not going to blow the complexity of the what happens in the file stays in the file. It's not going to slow down the rest of your code base. I remember some renewed guidance as well for side effects free TypeScript. TypeScript side effects free or something. What was it called? It was a recent PR to TypeScript. TypeScript. What's the latest? Is it 5.9? What's new? 5.5 then, okay. 5.5. So this is all a bit overkill, but just looking into best practices for TypeScript, just being a bit of a nerd here. It was something to do with side effects. Inferred types. Ah, this is it. Okay. So where's the PR? So basically, the reason I care about whether we write things like returns void, whatever, explicitly on our functions is if you get it done right, it will make your type checking go faster. So it's good to get into good habits while the project is small. But it wasn't Rob Palmer who opened the PR, it was someone else. Isolated declarations. A Dragomertition. Is this one? Yes. That's the guy. I thought there was a whole list of guidances for the best way to write your types. Maybe it's here. I'm totally not seeing it. Oh well, for the sake of the stream, if I don't see it as I scroll down. I'll have to give up on it. Alright, fine. Well, for now, we'll make it all explicit. That's just easy to remember. But yeah, sometimes with code bases that have like a lot of generics or particularly complicated types, yeah, there's definitely situations where you would want to not do explicit returns. I don't know. You know what? We could ask chat, fellows. Do you, when you're writing TypeScript, do you write explicitly the return type? Do you have a strong opinion on this? And do you have, beyond just your opinion, do you have a strong reason as to why it's beneficial and why you do or don't explicitly write out return type? Obviously, you can see it infers it or mouse over, and presumably when you generate the .dts file, it infers it, so you're fine. But I've just got that niggling feeling it's nice to have it explicit so you can read it when you're looking over the code, and it should make your type checking faster. But you know, it's true. I don't feel like. I think in practice I tend to do explicit voids. Maybe we should do, at the very least, let's do explicit voids, because well, that's fairly low maintenance. Okie dokie. Uncached pod. Download. Ooh, lovely. Promise of a tuple. Yeah. Okay. Downloader doesn't exist yet. I thought this is a thing that introduces downloaders, so what's going on? Does that still need to be implemented? CocoaPods. Let's make sure we're on the very latest. Okay, that's why it's not implemented with TypeScript. It's not implemented with Ruby. This thing comes out of nowhere. Oh, Ruby, never change. Where do you live? This is... No. There is a file called downloader. Oh! That'll probably help. Let's do that while we're here. How big is this file? That's pretty small, we can manage that. Require CocoaPods downloader. It might be a bit of a rabbit hole. But Node.js has got some of these things built in. I've written scripts for HTTP downloads in Node.js before. I always have to look stuff up for that. But we can, of course, cheat by using something like wget and just wrapping that in the child process, but I prefer to use proper Node APIs. So what is... Fine, we'll just pick that up, drop it in here, mostly commented out. There we go. So that's just for Ruby code. We're going to do an export class downloader. And at the very least, it's going to have that one function we need. Download request. So this project uses a lot. Oh, it's a module downloader. Maybe we don't need to make this a class of statics for once, but it's got methods on it. Let's for once treat ourselves to a const, which has a method on it called download request, which takes a request and a target, and the request is presumably a request not from the standard library but from /request.js request, and then there's a target which is a string. Sweet, I can handle that, which does stuff. Nene Odonka is here to quietly watch. You're welcome, as always. Nice to have you here. So we'll just throw a not implemented yet. Well, complaint. Oh yeah. Oh jeez, it's so hard for me to type right now. Because I've got like all my recording equipment like hemming me in, my mouse and keyboard are not in their usual position, so it's a little difficult to type sometimes. We'll have to satisfy the linter here. Request and target like that. So we now get downloader from here, and that's supposed to be returning a promise for that. That's really handy actually. So it's going to be doing that. Response comes from response, and we auto sort that. Specification comes from spec.js. For now, it might end up being, we might end up pulling it from lazy specification instead. Okay, not implemented yet. Okay, we shall come back for it eventually. Copy and clean. Are you returning void? I don't know. I think mainly the reason I'm interested in explicitly annotating voids is that in Ruby there's a concept of implicit returns, where the very last line of the method is implicitly returned. And so it's often very unclear when I'm porting the code, did we notice it was implicitly returning something? And was the thing it was implicitly returning, was it a void anyway? So I think at the very least implicit voids makes sense. Pod source preparer, I guess we're going to need that. Sandbox. Sandbox is a big one as well, I think, to port. Executable I did start on, so we've got that. We've got we do have execute command, name command, and raise on failure. Name is async. There's your command, and then raise on failure is going to be like, what do we default to false? Because in the actual code for executable, it doesn't default. Oh, it does. Okay, sweet. That is useful knowledge. Bang. In which case, that's technically right. Okay. Okie dokie. Do we need to do a path resolve on that? Probably not. Rsync is often used with relative paths. It's mostly used with relative paths. Well, I don't know, half and half. Port source, prepare it. Okay. So neither of these exist yet. We'll have to come back for them. Rsync. Oh, this is a sync command. I guess Ruby just. I mean, rsyncs can take a while. And CocoaPods is just happy blocking the whole thread, waiting on that. But you know, that's what a shell script would do. The thing about the execute command is they throw away the stood out, so you don't have any sort of heartbeat showing you that there is work going on. There's rsync in progress. So I think this is a little unfriendly, and it would be nice to actually pipe the progress. But CocoaPods never did that, so just for later. Huh. That's really nice. I thought earlier we were using a reduce pattern, but here it's exactly what the linter wants. So that is perfect. I'm going back on what I thought. Maybe you should use, for private internal things, maybe you should use implicit returns. Oh, I don't know. I think. Emotionally, how do I feel about that? I think implicit returns is a good thing for if you ever want to say, if you ever want to refactor, it's nice that you can just refactor the internals and then it implicitly updates the externals. But I think we're going to have to think of a policy about that, maybe off stream, maybe put it to a vote, or get some guidance and then decide what to do about all these returns. But as I said, void is a bit more of a no-brainer. Specs clearly got a too pretty JSON thing. That looks quite easy to search for, so that's a good opportunity. Maybe I need to check the org. Maybe that will explain it all. Oh man. Oh yes. Is this a missing key? See that. Do we have provider hiding around in here? Tricky. Linter set. Presenter passport. Yes. Yes. This is like finding a shiny Pokemon. This is so good. That is the missing piece of the puzzle. So this class specification was used in what exactly? Download a spec request. None of these. Config. Presenter. Okay. Check on everything. That's good. Okie dokie. I think I've got another 30 minutes before I go head on out. Oh no. Got 50 minutes, I think. That's cool. Okie dokie. Where am I? 1 minute or 2. Totally lost my train of thought. Keeping an eye on everything. So we were reviewing. No, we'd gotten just to the bottom of cache. Can close all this up just to make it more pleasant for viewing. So spec to pretty.json, we will eventually solve that. Pod source preparer, where do you live? Maybe I should file an issue on decide policy for implicit versus explicit return signatures. Cool, seeing some good, interesting guidance on best practices for writing efficient TypeScript types in regarding implicit isolated. Okay. What was I working on? It's pod source preparer. Where do you hide? It's here. Sandbox pod dear cleaner. Where do you live? Let's make sure we don't lose that tab. Pod dear cleaner lives here. Do I bother putting to-dos in front of those? And to-do, put these. Might as well separate them out. All of this, isn't it? Handle file locking. I think it's a good question. Flock. I did implement file locking for some Playwright thing before, because Playwright has no recommended way to share state between Playwright workers. They actually explicitly say on their official docs, if you want to share a resource between workers, you should put a lock around it, and you should use a file system. Well, not a lock, but you should use the file system for any sort of shared resources, which is curious, but fine. Simple is commendable. Welcome along the latest crowd of viewers. We're getting towards the end of this review. I understand there's a bunch of red line still, but there's a bunch of red line everywhere in the code base because there's so much. We're like an octopus here. We're really having to pour this thing, which depends on this other thing, which depends on this other thing, and we're just picking our battles and getting step by step a little closer each time. Let's see. Oh, to do red color. We figured that out a moment ago. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is the way we're going to be doing this. For now. Issues. No, my own issues. Hold up. Issues to do. Adopt a tool for managing color of console text. Chalk or better. I know chalk is sort of the it's been long in the game, but it's also, because it's been long in the game, it's, I think, become quite big and bloated compared to more focused solutions that came after it. Okay, let's check on my notifications. Oh boy. Okay, where were we? Yeah. So executable needs a bit more love and attention, but specification from file. Yeah, we should file another issue. I'm filing issues for the first time because I only actually opened the repo. I only created the repo last night. Get to the bottom of specification. Yeah. For this. Lazy specification. Lazy specification lives where exactly? Come on, there's source for this. Yeah. This is in Resolver, is it not? Here it is. Where was that other thing? So we found the Holy Grail, which was the actual definition of specification. Where did I put that? Okay. And presenter. Follow rabbit hole here. Ah, that's where CocoaPods core lives. Okay. We'll need to port CocoaPods. Okay, specification. Submit it. Okie dokie. Labels. Help wanted. It is not a good first issue. Adopt a tool for managing color. Okay, labels. Good first issue. Okie dokie. Implicit versus labels. Enhancement document. I don't know what this is. It's not a feature. Code management is not a feature. Question. I don't know what that is. Who needs a tag? Okay. Right. Well, welcome along, people who just dived in. We are getting dangerously close to having completed this review, or rather having got the review into a state where we're happy to merge it, merge code, and the code is now to the same working state as everything surrounding it, which is to say we've got a whole bunch of things we still need to port, but this is an excellent basis to be working with. Oh, Daniel. Oh, cool. Yeah, so Daniel, I've not yet open sourced the repo. It's still private for now. But you know, as this gets attention, you know, at some point maybe I should just open it. I was hoping to solve things like this specification file, which is used absolutely everywhere. It'd be nice to port that first, before making a repo public. At the same time, I've said I want help on that. Anyway, we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. I do intend to get this public as soon as possible, but right now the repo is in a pretty embarrassing state. You jump in and pretty much every file presents red line at you, and like any types, and it's like, what amateur made this code? It's a work in progress. It's work. It looks like this because there's lots of things to do. So I want people to be able to jump into a repo that everything you see is actually ready to go. Maybe that's a bit of an unproductive aim. But we'll see where I make the compromise on that. Am I using Deno based on the imports? Based on the import? Oh, no, I'm, so you'll see in my TS config, I'm extending node 22. Node 22 specifies module node 16, and one of the behaviors of module node 16 is you need to do a .ts on the end of everything. Sorry, a .js on the end of everything. So it's kind of, TypeScript has always done its own weird thing of this, which has set back the ecosystem for a long time. So finally, we're adopting ECMAScript modules as implemented by Node.js, and this is kind of the right way to go about it. It's just, you know, a bit of a culture shock. You know, I've been doing things the TypeScript way for my whole career, so this is very new for me. I think we could probably merge this, couldn't we? Now, note, obviously, I've got like a whole bunch of, I've got CocoaPods source here, but oh yeah, I've got the license. Hang on, why does that say Jimmy Birch in it? That's not right. Ah, these are wrong around. Okay, hold up. Let me go back in time. Good thing I noticed that. Right, so stash that. We change history. go back to the initial boilerplate, swap these around, edit that. So, valuable skill. It's kind of annoying to change names, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change contents. Paste all that, grab all that, save that, paste all that. They are swapped now. So now license.txt, this repo is copyright moi, and then we've got the CocoaPods license where it should be. We stage those amended changes, continue a rebase. Got now two different trees. We jump back onto the main branch. No, we jump back onto this branch. We pin it back to here, reset it, throw away all changes. That stash isn't going anywhere. No, we did it the wrong way around. Hold up, gotta redo all of that. Sorry, I got lost. Okay. Edit that. Edit the very first commit. That's still my undo history, so that's handy. Save. So, my license has got my name, their license has got their name. We amend the commit, continue a rebase, and now this new floating branch here is what we want to push. So we'll do a force push of that, and you see my stash is attached to this commit. The moment I do a force push, the stash will be attached to nothing, but it still exists. And now main is still going to be there. We'll pick up main, pin it to there, force push, stash disappears from our GUI, but stash is actually still around. We jump back to our commit, and put that back into our working tree. What was this? Oh, yeah, this is what I was working on before I started reviewing stuff. And surgery complete. It may be a little intimidating, but now you can see that from the very beginning, the licenses were set up correctly. This is one really textbook use case of rebasing, and a reason you should get good at rebasing, because you can save yourself legal troubles if someone checks out an old commit of your repo and goes, hey, why have you got our code without our license alongside it? That is when you rebase and force push to fix the errors of your ways. And it's also a reason I didn't want to release this to the public just yet. I wanted to make sure the repo was definitely in the correct shape before releasing it, and so the fact that it is still private means we avoided that snafu. Someone from the CocoaPods team could have seen it and gone, why does the license have your name on it? And it was an honest mistake. It was we had two licenses and they were just the wrong way around. And now we've fixed that embarrassing error. Thank you, rebasing. Could not have done that with merge commits. So, and this is the thing about rebasing and force pushing is you can't rewrite. It's unsafe to rewrite history if a whole bunch of people are contributing on the project. Unsafe in the sense of they'll attempt to open a PR and it'll say your branch has gone out of sync with main, and they might panic, but there's, if the situation can be explained, they can definitely recover. So the problem is they may need to be comfortable rebasing on their side. But I think, yes, rebasing, super valuable skill. And another thing you could do with rebasing, for example, is, why not? Let's just, stash that. This history is not really telling a story, is it? you know, these commits just say update. But if I merge them all together into one commit that says apply code address in code style. Adhere to code style. Adhere to coding style. And that says that the theme of all these commits is just trivial things like adhering to code style. While we're here, we could lowercase that, but right now we're not following send there or anything. There is no guidance on. You know what? The author of this commit is Johan, but because I force pushed, it's already attributed the commit, as in the committer, to me, but the author is still Johan. So let's just turn that to lowercase a, because everything else is a lowercase. Why not? So you see, it's still authored by Johan. We do a force push, and now we don't have a bunch of spam in our Git history. Lovely. And here's coding style. You see, I'm not using sort of feat, fix, chore at this time because versioning is meaningless at this point. We don't have a public API. There is no sense of stability or history. Oh, whoops. Okay, so the one thing I totally overlooked in amongst all of that is what that will have done to the PR, which is now it has auto-closed it because that commit made its way in as part of a manual rebasing effort. But I stand by that. I love the kind of DNA-shaped, kind of lovely bubbles saying here was the whole story and here it joins main, but at the same time, what I did just then was necessary, like renaming the license and all that. So just give it a push. Merged via rebase and force push. Thank you very much. I'll just give some confidence there because it's very scary when you see that red. But Facebook's React Native codebase has got a lot of these. It's red and closed, but in reality was merged. It was just done via their infrastructure, which presumably does rebasing and whatnot. And so yeah, while we're here, thank you so much, Johan, for taking the initiative on that PR. That has saved me so much time. There were I made some corrections on stream, but they were all bike shedding rather than fixing any sins or anything. So yeah, really just happy for that contribution, and it's really given me the motivation to get this open sourced sooner, and it's really fun to review on stream. It gives a lot to talk about and a sense of community, and it allows me to get some of the philosophies out of my head. Yeah. But it also presents a lot of conundrums. Things like when I see explicit returns, it challenges me to go, well, actually, what is our policy on that, etc. So cool. That has been a productive bit of work there, and that adds how much? It doesn't add one line. Come on, it does more than that. That's probably because of the. Because it got closed. But now if we look at the insights, see the contributors of pulse. Yes, we were going to do this, weren't we? Ah, it's not merged at all. Sorry. Yeah, the branch. Yeah. Sorry, I totally got lost. All right, hold on. These are follow-ups. Don't stage a Ruby file. Oh, interesting. Unicorn renamed substring to slice because substring is deprecated. Public. I think we've got all the publics right. So we'll commit that. That's the wrong way around. Hold up. To rescue that, you go into amend. You do that. Commit all of that, and actually leave the Ruby file out. That was just for reference. Okay. So we'll post that. I mean, this is a terrible commit name, isn't it? But this is just... Oh, that's so strange. I would have thought that... Okay, right, I'll show you how to deal with this. So we force push that. No, we regular push that. Just so we don't lose our space. We're going to do a bit of surgery. Because some of these things, these are coding style, and I want to get that into the adhere to coding style bit. You know what? Maybe that's more trouble than it's worth. Follow-ups. Do I want to take this battle? What happened here? I swear we fix-up. We did so much fix-up. All right, let's do this as a challenge. Let's do this as a challenge because there's something clearly went wrong with all that rebasing. So I think the way to go about this is we fix this fix-up with a fix-up. So first up, fix up that into that. Then we go into amend, and we extract the things that we want to separate out into a new commit. That comes into the next commit. That's part of the syntax. That's part of syntax. That was a bug fix. That's addressing a to-do. So we're putting all this into unstaged area. That's kind of part of coding style because that's what the linter wanted us to do. That's what Unicorn linter wanted us to do. Downloader, this was a bug fix. Then cache. That's import sorting, code style. Technically that, I mean, fine. Did we do that? Yes. To do port this. Okay. And get that comment. Sweet. Okay. Nice. So, as the dust settles, we have the new shape of that commit. Adhere to coding style is now strictly about linting and code style. And then in our staging area, we have comments and resolutions for things that were exploding. Like we made this placeholder downloader class. So if you want to call download request, you can. And yes, sweet. So now that can be its own dedicated commit. What should we call it? Well, it was going to be called follow-ups originally. Resolve. Okay. Notes and it's follow-ups. It'll do, right? Okay. And now force push, and it shall look beautiful. And now we have that branch in a state where we can reopen the pull request. Download a subdir. Yep. Create a pull request. Reopening. Recreating. Due to rebase. Collateral damage of necessary rebase. It was necessary because we had to fix the licenses issue. Okay, we create pull request. What was it originally called? Grab that. Redo? I don't know. There's no real convention for this. Actually, by the time that gets merged, that's the name that's going to have in the commit log, and maybe we keep the commit log lowercase? I don't know. That looks strange. I want the PRs to be uppercased. Whatever, let's just do this, and I merge it because I am the reviewer. The surgery is done, and now we get that lovely DNA shape once we fetch. Lovely. It is healed. We jump over to main, we tell that to jump to origin main. Now we can delete that branch. Download a subdir. Delete and delete the remote. Okay. Sweet. That is our first pull request merged with a lot of rewriting history along the way to fix up the licenses and yeah, keep the Git history relatively clean. Oh jeez, I should have done the lowercase there. This is one reason for putting like linting on commit messages. It can kind of haunt you. I don't really want to go back and rebase this because then I lose the lovely DNA strand. But ah well, what's done is done. So now what? Let me just check on my schedule. How much time I've got? Okay, I'm just gonna take a break for 5-10 minutes, figure out my schedule, and then depending on how much time I've got, I might be able to do another, let's see. Half hour, or I might be able to do another whole hour. Okay, yeah, so give me a moment. I'll be back in a bit. Preparing. Yes. Okay, now we have sound. We have sound. I do apologize. That must have been silly. Yeah, so yeah, just as I went into back soon mode, I turned my microphone off manually. So that's something to look out for. I'm very glad I caught that. Okay. So, repeating what I was saying, I'm starting to understand maybe the way that CocoaPods structures things. Everything in the specification folder pertains to class specification, maybe? And this DSL file constitutes the DSL module. So if you want to find specification presenter, specification set presenter, it is right here. So let's tackle that thing that was holding us back the other day. So we need there's CocoaPods and there's CocoaPods core. Just want to understand the package structure. So we had lib CocoaPods downloader, for example, module downloader. Whereas core does things as still right straight into the pod module. CocoaPods slash libs CocoaPods core slash libs. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So the lib has both CocoaPods core and okay, no, so that's sort of just a barrel, isn't it? Ooh boy, what is all this? Okay, fine. Get to work on this. Reveal and finder. Duplicate that and make ourselves a CocoaPods core. Delete everything here. README. That pertains to this. Package.json for CocoaPods. Now we'll just give it back its old name. I was only changing the name originally just to publish, to make sure we don't lose the name CocoaPods. So what do I describe this? The previous one was well, one's the core and the other is the core of the core. What do you describe this as? What do they describe it as? Oh, I see. It's like interfaces. That's... Well, we do need installation dependencies. I was just wondering whether we could get away with just porting core. But maybe that's not the case. So how does CocoaPods describe itself? Okay, here's how we'll do it. That's CocoaPods core. this is. Yeah, I think that does the trick. Why aren't these get ignored already? Pretty sure I did. Maybe I just lost that long. Oh, right, that's why. Yeah, I don't need that. I was working on. Yeah, I don't think I need that, do I? Okay. Get ignore the .ds stores. Don't tell me I committed any DS stores along the way. No, we are good. Okay. Add boilerplate for CocoaPods. Cool. Push it. Enjoy my tea. Okay, so back to business. We're going to try and tackle that thing that's been a thorn in my side. Presenter. We need this thing, so have that by the side, close all the tabs, put it on the right. Well, that does remind me we need to do that. Okie dokie. Nice, nice, nice. Issues. Which means I don't need this window anymore. That can be like that. It's there. Okie dokie. So presenter, yeah, it goes like this. Okie dokie. So we shall have source. New folder, specifications set. We'll do a presenter.ts. Where's my raw code? There we go. Copy that over, paste it up. Full screen. So we ignore the top level module. And first, because in Ruby, a class doesn't always map to a JavaScript class. Sometimes it's an object, sometimes it's just doing static stuff. So let's have a brief look over this, maybe with syntax highlighting. So there's a member variable, attribute reader. A member variable called set. It's read only from the outside. The constructor establishes it with its initial value. Name is effectively a getter for name, for the set name. The canonical version is the first version in the set. Oh, the highest version available. Oh, okay, I recognize kind of what this is all about. Yes, versions by source. Oh, okay, this so far, yes, this is blessedly easy to understand compared to some of the other things I've been dealing with. Nice. Okay. But then does that make this a class after all this? Yeah. Let's see if this models as a class. So I think, do we go with namespaces or do we, what is the point of TypeScript namespaces anyway? This is TypeScript namespaces, which, yeah. I thought they used to be discouraged. Right. Maybe we embrace the namespaces after all. Namespace. The namespace can be called. Ah, that's a problem. A lot of people like merge into these namespaces. Namespace, well, just to humor it, no. And that's exactly what I'm on about. Source spec. We had that, but we also had layer specification. So I was originally writing it as this kind of deal. Well, I say I was writing it, ChatGPT wrote this one, which is why it makes no sense. Okay, well, let's say, does CocoaPods have a specification/specification? It does not, okay. Index.ts. Export namespace, is that how it works? I never use this. No, stop that. Module syntax, okay. And what is the suggested modules syntax for this? And who's preferring that? It's TypeScript themselves, okay. I wonder how to represent this, whether we do this as a constant object or as a namespace. Because the thing about it is augmenting it from different files. Whoops. TypeScript lang. Try it now. Remind myself how namespace specification actually gets. Huh. Is this purely, does this not organize things? Okay, class ABC. Okay. So this says, if you don't find specification and yet, if you say ABC. Hang on. Specification's got nothing inside it. ABC is not inside it. Where is it? And you can't find ABC. Okay. So that's how it works. So you can't do specification.abc because that'll just be undefined. Okay. I think that's not what we're aiming for. We want to be able to index into it. I think. Well, maybe we don't take it literally then. We just look at the last leaf node in this tree. We focus on delivering presenter. And the namespace is implied by the directory line. I think that is the solution. No namespace set specification. We're going to describe a class called set. And what does it do? Close those. Keep that. Close that up. Do that on the side. Presenter sits on our right. And we're going to go from top to bottom, copying stuff like, well, what we could do to make this fit a bit better is fold up specification and module. Go down to the bottom, we'll take off 2 ends. And then add a wrap, double word wrap. Bang, 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 bang. Space it out. Okay. Oh, it's not set we're doing, it's presenter we're doing. Is there anything else hiding around in set? Perfect, there's nothing. So we can decrease the indentation 1 more level. Save it up. Copy over the doc comments. Bump it up. Okay, and wrap it to a new line length. Let's just do this. Pretty caveman way of doing that. I wish I knew an auto wrapping tool that would just do that for me. But anyway. And now we can peel that off. Bring it in like this. And decrease the indentation. Like that. No. That white space was quite nice while it lasted. Why didn't I complain about it before? Oh, I guess, yes, I'm starting to see what happened. Yes, how much effort would it take to restore that? Fine, fine. All white space gone. That's going to be annoying, but whatever. We'll survive. Welcome along. Okay, so as we established, this is a getter for set. And we also want our constructor. So we shall have a private variable named set, which takes a set. Okay, type set. For now, it's because set is actually going to come from the level above. Is there an implementation of set? Nope. So others are free to merge stuff into that, which makes this very confusing. The set that should be presented. So to my understanding, a set is... Oh, hold up. There's set. Okay. That's implemented there. Then we have a constructor which takes in a set of type set, and then it sets this dot set to a set. Okay. And this shall return the set that should be presented. We'll have a get. We'll have a get to get set. We'll make sure that we ourselves get set with this getter for set, which gets you a set. Return this dot private set. Okay, that's a bit of code ported. And then how does this work? We have a method called name that gets you set.name, so that can be modeled as a get name, return set.name, name of the pod. And then might as well have that. Okay, that's done. Gonna need all that. So version, the highest version available for the pod. This set versions. I'd like to do that. No. At is relatively new. Can I use at? MDN will know. Whoa, what? Someone owns that domain. Okay, fair enough. Newly available, that's the thing. Oh, it's been available since Node 16. Let's treat ourselves. Yeah. So that should return a number or undefined. Okay. Oh, no, it should return a version or undefined. Type version is going to be any. That's done. Now this feels more like a method. Unless this is a getter. It's doing so much work, it feels less like a getter, but whatever. You get the versions by source, and what's that going to do? Returns a string. Is that note a thing? Because in a way all comments are notes, are they not? Just dot note. It is not a thing. You need to have that before the example, as the syntax highlighting applies to everything from the example onwards. Okay. How does this work? So we start off with result equals a new array of what exactly? Array of version, I would think. Going to be this set. You take the versions by source. That's a constant though. And then for const source of this dot set sources dot sort. So this, yeah, we're going to do const versions is and that should be some kind of record of string to version. Okay, unless it's a map. So I'm assuming a source is a string. Oh! Source is not a string. Sort. Okay, that was already fine. Get source. Whoops. Then you look at your versions, and then you push into result a string. Result.push that, which is actually a template string. Hang on, grab those. And then we map each version to a string, but a version should really the to string. What is this multiply thing, huh? What? I mean, that's just going to be join, right? That's so strange. Join. Okay. So actually, we don't need to be doing a for of loop here. This is a mapping operation. So map each source to versions, yeah. Then we'll return that. And each source can be a source. There we are. And that is going to be our result. Result equals array of version. String, I guess. What's wrong with that? Oh, just for lint complaining. Okay. And then the end result is the result joined up by that. So return result. Oh, we could one line that actually. Oh yes. Versions by source. And to be honest, is it just... So we could even one-line the whole thing by inlining that into there, but who knows? I assume it's not actually doing any work particularly. It's just indexing into some. Unless it, if it constructs this, this record on demand. Actually, that's not. Yeah, that's a map, isn't it? So just in case that is an expensive here, a non-cheap task, we'll keep that in this outer scope. But I think we've done a nice little cleanup there. Okay. Take on one last thing then. So you've got your sources, get sources, the array of string. Return this dot set dot sources, and you map has any type. Come on, that was going to be fine. So source should be somewhere around here. Yes. Okay. Okie dokie, a bunch more, but we're getting close to presenter, so don't think I quite want to commit that yet, but we're doing well. Okay, I'm fairly happy with what we've got done on this stream, so I'm gonna take a break now, and I'll catch you another time. Thanks for coming along, and lots more work to do. So more to look forward to in future streams. Catch you later.